I was immediately saying, "Oh, I've got a story, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, quite a few, in fact." Um, I would say, just quickly to start off with, the most obvious thing at this point now is it's giving me discipline me to listen to people much more carefully. I mean, there's still moments where sort of say to me, I didn't say that. You haven't listened to what I've said, and I'll say that to her sometimes. But generally speaking, but a lot of the time, I'm just listening very carefully to what people say, and within the business, but also with with the job that we do part time, working in Morrison's, and well, I'll focus on that just for a moment. A lot of things that upset other people don't upset me, because I've just disciplined myself not to get upset by them. I'm not saying they don't affect me. I'm just saying that I don't allow it to overrule me. So,
can I ask you a question there, Andy? Sorry for butting in, but so if we were to rewind, say 5, 6, 7 years ago, would those things have upset you back then compared to what they do now?
It depends how far back you go, Kev.
But if we go back far enough, those things would have bothered you just like anyone else, wouldn't they?
Yes, yeah, they would, yeah.
But it's down to personal development that you're now things you've got thicker skin. You're tougher to normal things that would normally bother other people.
Yeah.
So that's a change in your what, would you say?
In my attitude, my perception, and I'm just a few swear words were coming into my head then. But it's just educating yourself to remember that, if you get one person who really, anybody who's worked in dealing with people in retail, in hospitality, in restaurants, in anything where you deal with people, don't allow one person to upset you with 99 others.
Yeah. The thing is, we're in control of our feelings.
Absolutely.
But we more often than not, we surrender to them and say, hey, it's not my fault. I can't help how I feel. But the truth of the matter is, we can help 100% how we feel, because we're the ones creating the feeling. And personal development has taught me that more than anything, I think.
Yeah. When I'm really on fire, and I know Sue's the same because she's always on fire, but when I'm really on fire and I'm on the tills, I'm just absolutely 110%. Nobody is going to upset me. Nobody. I don't give a shit what they say. They're not going to upset me. So somebody can come on and they can be miserable and they can say this and they can say that and they can say the other, blah, 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 or whatever, And even some of the other customers might make a comment about it. Say, well, they're a miserable whatever, weren't they? And I go, yeah, whatever. and I just like, it's just you deciding how you're going to be for that day. And no matter what happens, nobody's going to upset that. And nobody's going to derail that, So obviously that also comes into our business. So I'm there's just no way that I talk to. My belief is 100% in myself. My belief is 100% in the business, despite the crap we've got going on at the moment. I'll be honest, but it's still there, and nobody can sort of push me off my target or my goal or my tracks or anything like that. I know exactly where we're going. We've got some great goals coming up. And I just know where I'm going and what I'm doing.
So how would you compare that to when you first started? So anyone brand new listening to this who's only just starting out on their journey, and they've probably never even heard of personal development. Especially if they've been around a while, they'll think, I know what I know and nobody's going to change that. I'm 40-year-old and I know my stuff, or I've been employed for 10 years with the most miserable company ever, and so in comparison to where you were when you started this business.
The biggest thing I can say is, the first thing that you've got to realize is that you don't know everything. And if you knew everything, you would be in a much better position than you are now.
Yeah, we wouldn't have rung up in the first place, would we?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Now, the thing is, I've got some notes down here. One of the things that you've got to let go of is your ego. Okay? Get over yourself. Okay? Because the vast majority of the time, I'm going to be really to the point here, nobody gives a shit about what you think, okay, or what you think about yourself. They really don't. Okay, now if you can get over that to start off with, okay, you're already 50% of the way there. Okay, that's not to say, I'm not saying you have a bad attitude about people. I'm just saying don't take yourself seriously. That's what I'm saying.
Have an open mind.
Absolutely. I've become very interested in politics recently. I'm not going to talk about politics, but I'm just saying I've become very interested in politics. And one of the reasons why is because I've just shut that up and I've listened to what people are saying. And I haven't allowed, if I've been listening to something, say 5 years ago, I would listen to somebody say perhaps on question time, I thought, oh, it seems like a right snotty ass git or something like that. Yeah. Excuse my French, right? But now I would listen to what that person's saying, and I wouldn't be so quick to make a
judgment.
Yes, to make a judgment on what they're saying. So that's come from the business. Totally from the business. So I don't care what they look like. I don't care what kind of accent they have or haven't got, or what kind of posh voice they haven't or haven't got, or whether they've got a working class voice, or whatever it is. I really don't care. I'm focused on what they're saying and taking on board what they're saying and putting my sort of original ideas or conclusions, you might say, because we all tend to jump to conclusions. We all, no matter what we say or do, we still make a first judgment on somebody. That's just human nature, right? But to be in control of yourself, you say, okay, right, well, this person looks like this person sounds like this, but then you put that to one side and listen to what they've got to say. And that's very much with the business. So the business, from the business angle, it's all about everybody else, and that's it. Yeah, we do personal development to understand ourselves and to you might think you know yourself, but you can always learn more.
My next question was going to be, what would you say is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself?
That I thought, and probably here's the big one. I thought that I was open-minded and that I did listen to people, but now I know that I wasn't as open-minded as I thought I was. In fact, actually, I'm quite closed, right? I might pretend that I'm listening to them, but deep down, I'm still thinking that that's a load of cod. Well, what you're saying that for? And I can't wait to get my all in to say my bit. Whereas now, because just changing my thoughts and my thought patterns, I just know it's more about listening. You're going to unlearn more by listening. When did you ever learn anything by telling something to somebody? You didn't learn anything. You always learn by listening to other people. Okay, it might not be what you want to hear, but you still might learn something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's all about listening to what other people. So if you put your ego away and you listen to what other people are saying, then the first thing is that you realize is that you don't know everything. But don't let that overwhelm you. Okay, don't get sort of like a bit of an arrogance and think, well, I don't know a lot, but I'm going to pretend I do. Don't do that. Have an open mind. You've got to be willing to learn. If you're not willing to learn, and a big part of that is having an open mind, then I'm not being funny, but you're not going to go very far in the business. In fact, you're not going to go very far in anything. That is unfortunately the way it is. The thing about personal and business development is, yeah, it's gonna make a massive difference to your business, but it's also going to make a massive difference to you. You are going to develop. You are going to improve. You are going to become a much better manager of yourself. You're going to become a much better leader. Okay, because a big part of being a leader, again, is listening. It's not about shouting out orders to people.
No,
It really
no,
isn't.
absolutely. Listen, I know you've got a lot to say tonight on this subject because I know your personal development journey has been quite a big one as well. But I'd just like to break it up by giving maybe one of the ladies a chance to say something if anyone's got